Hi everyone, today's video is on haematopoesis. So hemato means blood and poiesis means to make or to form. So basically haematopoesis is describing the process which gives rise to all of our blood cells. So although these cells tend to circulate our body in the blood, they're actually made in our bone marrow. So all of our blood cells are derived from a single progenitor cell called a hematopoietic stem cell, or a HSC. In case you're not familiar with stem cells are undifferentiated cells which have the ability to both self-renew and to differentiate into a number of different specialised cells. There are two main types of stem cells: embryonic stem cells, which are important in embryonic development, and these cells are known as pluripotent, which means that they're able to develop into all of the cell types of the body. The other type of stem cells are known as adult stem cells, and these are known as multipotent, which means that they're lineage restricted. So in a minute, I'm going to explain how hematopoietic stem cells generate all of the cells that make up our blood, but a hematopoietic stem cell would not be able to generate, say, a nerve cell or a muscle cell. The first step in hematopoiesis is to commit to either the myeloid or the lymphoid lineage. Hematopoietic stem cells can divide into either a common myeloid progenitor or a common lymphoid progenitor. And as I mentioned earlier, this process is happening in our bone marrow. So like stem cells, progenitors can divide into multiple different cell types, but they are already more differentiated. So once a cell has committed to the myeloid lineage, it can no longer become a lymphoid cell. Common myeloid progenitors can develop into megakaryocytes, which are large cells that are responsible for producing platelets. Platelets are small cell fragments which are responsible for blood clotting. They can also develop into erythrocytes, or as they're more commonly known, red blood cells. Or they can go on to develop into mast cells, which are tissue-resident immune cells that release histamine. Common myeloid progenitors can also develop into myeloblasts, which in turn can develop into either a neutrophil, a basophil, or an eosinophil. And this group of cells are known as granulocytes because they have large granules within them that store lots of cytotoxic proteins which they can release. And finally, they can develop into a monocyte. Monocytes can further differentiate once they have migrated outside of the blood and into various tissues. And depending on what signal they have received, they can develop into either a macrophage or a myeloid dendritic cell. Common lymphoid progenitor cells can also produce dendritic cells. However, these are known as lymphoid dendritic cells rather than myeloid. Common lymphoid progenitors can also give rise to pre-natural killer cells or pre-NK cells, which further develop into NK cells. They can also give rise to pre-T cells. However, this process is slightly different because committed immature T cells actually migrate out of the bone marrow and into the thymus where they fully mature. It's once they're fully mature that the T cells return back to our blood to circulate our bodies. And finally, common lymphoid progenitors can give rise to pre-B cells, which develop into fully mature B cells, which can then also develop into plasma cells. And these plasma cells are responsible for releasing antibodies into the circulation. Okay, so there you go. That's how all of our blood cells are developed from a single hematopoietic stem cell. So I hope you liked my video. If you did, then please subscribe to my channel and look out for my future videos.